Part 12. I have the option of love in the starry sky. Author, Lao Cha Shugu. Chapter 111. When passing Liuyandu before. It seems that I have indeed encountered a demonic warrior who can talk. According to Sophia, that was the person who taught secretly to the king of medicine. As for why those people fell into the devil's shadow, still able to stay sane, Sophia has no clue yet, and she is still asking her animal friends to investigate. Bo Chang was not in a hurry. There is no point in rushing anyway. He is now under house arrest in Chen's mansion, and he doesn't know when he can leave. Unsure of the surrounding safety, Bo Chang didn't dare to use the power of the sheep charm to go outside for a walk. It didn't take long. Bo Chang got the good news about March 7th, and seeing it is said that with the help of Tabo Si, Fu Xian, they successfully captured the Star Corps hunter Kafka. The mission assigned by General Jing Yuan has come to an end for the time being. There is no need to catch the other Star Corps hunter. Anyway, Xianzhou doesn't plan to hire people from Star Train to catch the blade. So, Xingyuqiu and others decided to visit Chen's mansion. General Jing Yuan had no intention of refusing. This matter was decided happily. When the sun sets over the western mountains and the afterglow fills the earth, Ba Kane, Zilawa, and Bailu waited eagerly outside Chen's mansion. Xing March 7th did not keep them waiting. A lone starship flew over and landed steadily in front of Shen's mansion. The hatch opens. On March 7th, Xing and others walked down Xingcha one by one. Tingyun is also among them. Seeing the fox lady, Bo Chang couldn't help but look away with a guilty conscience. Tingyun said hello with a smile and said, "The little lady has heard about the deeds of the two of them. We haven't seen each other for a while. I didn't expect that my benefactors would lead Master Bailu to do such exciting things. We were just attacked by someone else." Bo Chang shook his head immediately. Seeing the other party's performance, he knew that Tingyun most likely didn't know that he had blown up her Minghuo merchant group. This is a good thing. Bo Chang wouldn't take the initiative to mention it, just pretend that nothing happened. The conversation between the two ended. March 7th immediately interjected, "Bo Chang, share your power with me. We want to see if we can transform." Bo Chang slowly typed out a few question marks. While waiting for March 7th and Xing and others to come over, Bo Chang had anticipated what the pink-haired girl might say in advance, but he never expected it. The first words I said on March 7th were actually this: "The power of the dragon talisman is not a good thing. Even if Bo Chang uses it on himself, he will make a crackling sound and transform into a burning man. Launched. It will directly turn into a flame beam, causing a lot of blast damage to everything in the world. Even if there were system options at the beginning." Bo Changdu hesitated for a while before handing over the magic power of the dragon talisman to Bailu. Now, he rashly injected the magic power of the dragon talisman into March 7th. Bo Chang really didn't dare. If the opponent's body cannot accept it, Bo Chang might be knocked away with one shot. No, March, you and Bailu are different." Bo Chang refused without even thinking about it. March 7th pouted and said, "We just want to give it a try." "You can't even try." Bo Chang's attitude was very firm. Xing did not follow March Chi's nonsense. She glanced at Zilawa and then at Bo Chang. After noticing the teleportation ring on the hand of the blonde lady, Xing stretched out his hand and said calmly, "I'm back." Those beautiful golden eyes were still the same as before, with no mood swings. But there seems to be a hint of desire in it. Seeing this, Ba Kane wisely handed over the teleportation ring that had been prepared. He stuffed the sparkling gadget into Xing's outstretched hand and said, "Thank you for your hard work. This is the gift I prepared for you." Thank you." Xing's pupils flickered and he made a small sound. Seeing this scene, March Chi crossed his arms and his expression changed slightly. Naturally, Bo Chang did not ignore the pink-haired girl. After saying no thank you, he stuffed another teleportation ring into March's palm. March, you've worked hard too, take it, no need to thank me. This is what we agreed to do, and we won't thank you. March 7th snorted. Ting Yun, who was holding a bone-gathering fan, fanned the wind and narrowed her eyes slightly. Her eyes kept moving on the members of the development team, and she didn't know what she was thinking. Chapter 142 Burning Red Lotus. Not long after Bo Chang handed over the teleportation ring, Seeing returned the dog medal to him. Since Pascal is not around, Bo Chang could only put the dog medal in his pocket. This prop seems to be effective only when it is worn on the body. Anyway, there is no abnormal change when it is placed in the pocket. Then, Bo Chang took Yu Qi, Seeing, and others to wander around Shen's mansion. Listen to everyone talk about what happened in Huixing Port. He also learned about Kafka's strange psychic ability. Even March 7th, Seeing and others could not resist and were forced to attack their teammates. I don't know if I can resist it. When he heard the news, Bo Chang couldn't help but murmur in his heart. Possessing the power of the sheep spell, Bo Chang believes that his mental resistance is still very strong. He should not be bewitched. No outsiders came to disturb them while they were strolling. After everyone finished touring the Shen-Ce mansion, it was already dark. Somewhere in the Shen-Ce mansion, Bo Chang was lying on the grass, looking at the stars in the sky. San Yu Qi, Seeing, and others were beside him. As for Dan Heng, he was still wandering around the Xin Cha-Si Center. As for gathering at the Shen-Ce mansion, Dan Heng naturally refused. Now, Kafka has been escorted to Tabizi by Fu Xian. Because there was also the influence of the Star Corps, there was a big mess, so the interrogation of the Star Corps hunter could only begin after the unrest was quelled. Fu Xian said that after the internal affairs are rectified, he will order the guide to lead us into the Tabizi to listen to Kafka's interrogation. You can come with us then. Don't worry, if Ren dares to come again, we will help you teach him a lesson. Sanyuki, who was sitting next to Bo Chang, waved his pink fist. Seeing also echoed. After walking around the entire Shen-Ce mansion, Bo Chang felt a little tired and thought about it. It depends on whether the general is willing to let me leave Shen-Ce mansion. Bo Chang sighed softly. He did not refuse, nor did he agree directly. After all, can I leave? It is not Bo Chang who has the final say now. My benefactor, do I need to ask you something? Ting Yun, as the guide of Sanyuki and others, has been following them while they were strolling around Shen-Ce mansion, and she never left for a moment. Bo Chang said, then I'll trouble you. Although he has the contact information of General Jing Yuan. But, since someone else has taken action, Bo Chang can have one less thing. When Ting Yun asked General Jing Yuan, Bo Chang suddenly thought of something and sat up. Oh, right, I still need to develop the power of the dragon spell. I was so busy playing before that I almost forgot about the main thing. In the afternoon, Bo Chang played with Zilua and Bailu. In the evening, Sanyuki and Seeing were added to play all the way in Shen-Ce mansion. Bo Chang really didn't have much time to develop the power of the dragon spell. Seeing the unusual movement of the black-haired boy, Seeing asked curiously, what's wrong? I suddenly remembered something. Bo Chang stopped here and looked at a Yunkai soldier stationed not far away. That, brother Yunkai, can I test my power here? I have the option of love in the starry sky. Author, Lao Cha Shugu. Chapter 112. You are the general's guests. You can do whatever you want as long as you don't destroy the nearby buildings. The Cloud Cavalry agreed. Bo Chang looked around and saw that there were only lawns nearby, and no buildings at all. So he began to walk around in circles, thinking about how to use the power of the dragon spell. One idea after another came to his mind and was rejected. Walter Yang and others didn't know what he was doing, but seeing that he was thinking so seriously, they didn't bother him. After Bo Chang thought deeply for several minutes. Finally, he had a flash of inspiration and thought of a feasible plan. As we all know, the magic power of the dragon spell is very violent. Injecting it into the Spear of Oath, it may even cause the blue spear to explode and tremble constantly. If it weren't for its indestructible attribute, it might have been broken long ago. Do you want to try to combine the magic power of Tongue Lotus and Dragon Spell? Anyway, the battle with Blade just now has exposed almost all of my abilities. As long as the power of Rat Spell and the healing power of Tongue Lotus are not exposed, it will be fine, so as not to cause trouble for myself. With this idea, Bo Chang did it as soon as he said it. He first said to Walter Yang, "Uncle Yang, I will experiment with my new ability next. Please pay attention and don't let me shoot Dragon Blast too far." "Okay." Walter Yang, holding a cane in one hand, pushed his black-framed glasses. Hearing such a conversation, everyone stood up from the lawn one by one, looking at each other with curious eyes. Bo Chang finished the preparations. Immediately started to practice. While blowing with Tongue Lotus, inject the magic power of Dragon Spell into the White Lotus to see if it can produce a strange reaction. Result: the first attempt failed. Bo Chang shot the magic power of Dragon Spell directly. The White Lotus was engulfed by the flame beam, making a crackling explosion sound, like setting off firecrackers. It was Walter Yang who used the black hole, which swallowed up Bo Chang's attack without causing any impact on the outside world. The timing of using the two skills is not well matched. Come again. Come again. It is different from the first time that the magic power of the dragon spell was spread all over the body. It is extremely difficult to combine this power with the Tongue Lotus. After Bo Chang failed dozens of times, only then did he see a glimmer of hope. A certain white lotus that flew out of his mouth was dyed red by the power of the dragon spell, and turned into a burning red lotus and flew out. Unfortunately, the effect has not been seen yet. The dragon explosion surged out uncontrollably again, destroying all the lotuses. And at this moment, the red lotus exploded with a more powerful explosion, which made Bo Chang couldn't help but take a step back. Although this experiment ended in failure again. But the burning red lotus made Bo Chang see the light of hope. He believed that as long as he practiced diligently, he would definitely be able to combine the two abilities. But the attack distance of Tongue Lotus is too short. With the blasting power of Dragon Talisman, will it really not hurt me? It feels a bit useless. When Bo Chang's heart was burning with fire, he poured a bucket of cold water on himself. But this is the only way he can think of to develop the power of Dragon Talisman for the time being. Even if it is a bit useless, he has to try it. At the same time, in the starry sky train parked at Liuyandu, GZI is communicating with Black Tower. After an unknown period of time, she finally saw the news and knew that Bo Chang had the ability to revive the dead. Black Tower showed great interest. Black Tower, when are you going to come back? GZI, it will take some time. Let's talk about it after we deal with the Luofu ferry boat. Black Tower, I can't wait. Forget it, I'll come here in person and send me the coordinates of Luofu ferry boat. Chapter 143 Changalshan. The night of Luofu ferry boat is no different from that of ordinary planets. The ingenious landscaping of the Daiheng division has reached the point where it is indistinguishable from the real thing, and even more beautiful. The twinkling stars illuminate the earth. Bo Chang was bathing in the night and was preparing for the next experiment. At this time, a burst of applause suddenly came from behind. Bo Chang turned around and saw General Jing Yuan with white hair appearing here. He came here in person, not a projection. The first person to discover the other party was Walter Yang. General. Ting Yun nodded, and his erect fox ears also moved. Jing Yuan raised his hand as a greeting. He smiled at Bo Chang and said, I thought you had already used all your means when fighting against the blade, but I didn't expect you to hold back. Let's be honest. Bo Chang didn't hold back at that time on purpose. It was because the power of the dragon spell was too strong, and he didn't dare to use it casually. Otherwise, if he fired a shot, he would not kill the blade, but kill a group of immortal boat people first. That would be fun. Bai Lu's attack is different from Bo Chang's. Even after she transforms into a dragon, the high-intensity current she sprays out can only cause single target damage, and at most can cause weak electric shock damage to a radius of several dozen meters. The controlled flood is a means of restriction, which may harm the people on the immortal boat. But, it will never kill them. Dragon Blast is different. If the shot missed, who knows how far it will fly, and how many immortal boat people will be killed by the ranged damage of the explosion. Until now, Bo Chang still cannot accurately control this power. Now he is developing a new way to use the magic of the dragon spell. Bo Chang is also trying to change his attack method. It would be better if he can reduce the damage range. The ideal state is to directly turn it into single target damage. If I had drawn the pig spell at the beginning, I wouldn't have to worry about these. The laser eyes of the pig spell. The power is concentrated on one point, and it is difficult to cause large-scale AoE damage, which is completely different from the dragon spell. You are really a hero in his youth. Before Bo Chang opened his mouth, General Jing Yuan sighed again. Bai Lu, who was standing next to him, had his hands on his waist with a sense of honor, as if he was being praised. It's not what the general thinks. I don't use this trick because I'm worried about accidentally hurting the people in the nearby Xianzhou. Bo Chang didn't expect General Jing Yuan to come here. While he was talking, he was also guessing in his heart, is Jing Yuan here because of my request to leave the Shenxi mansion? Well, in the face of crisis, he still cares about the safety of the people in Xianzhou. Isn't this more heroic? Brother Bo Chang, don't refuse. Jing Yuan spread his hands and said with a smile, if possible, I really want you to stay in Xianzhou, but unfortunately this is impossible. Yakang asked once, and Jing Yuan asked once. Bo Chang refused. The other party didn't intend to stay at all. General knows, it doesn't matter whether I'm here or not. Yes, after all, you have that kind of thing. Jing Yuan's eyes swept over the hands of Sanyuki, Zilawa, and Xing. It seems that they all have it. Well, do you have more of this kind of treasure? If it's really like what you said, the Xianzhou Alliance can consider buying it at a high price, as long as you are willing to sell it. Jing Yuan suddenly mentioned this. Bo Chang realized that the strategic value of the teleportation ring had attracted the attention of the Xianzhou Alliance. Think about it. This is a powerful tool that can call for support with one click. If several generals have such a teleportation ring in their hands, when encountering an enemy, it is easy to do a righteous group fight. Sorry, General Jing Yuan, I don't have many teleportation rings in my hand, so I can't sell them. Bo Chang refused. He was not worried that his refusal would use the skill I refuse, because he had tried it before. The skill of I refuse must be effective when Bo Chang refuses the other party. Saying the 3 words I refuse. Other ways of refusal will not lead to the effectiveness of the skill, which gives Bo Chang a certain initiative for this skill. Unlike the rock-paper-scissors protection, it is impossible for Bo Chang to lose. That's right, I don't even have a teleportation ring, how can I give it to the general first? Bai Lu put her hands on her waist. Jing Yuan replied, since you don't have it, forget it. It's not too late to find me when you have it. The Yunkai general did not force it. Just the fact that Bo Chang showed his ability to turn Bai Lu into a dragon was enough to make people fear him. Not to mention that there were other difficult characters on the Starry Sky train. Jing Yuan didn't want to cause any trouble. Then, You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. I have the option of Love in the Starry Sky. Author, Lao Cha Shugu. Chapter 113. The words of the Cloud Rider General confirmed Bo Chang's previous conjecture. Let's talk about another thing. Jing Yuan's eyes swept over the pioneers. I already know your thoughts. If you go together, you can leave the Shen Ce mansion, but, remember not to separate too far, so as not to cause any more accidents. With Long Hua Bailu and Walter Yang, two big legs beside him, Jing Yuan felt that the safety of Bo Chang and others could be guaranteed. I think Blade would not dare to attack these two casually. It would be fine if he attacked again. Just catch him. March 7 patted the black-haired boy on the shoulder and said, Bo Chang, now you can go with us. Well, then let's go to Tabo Si. Since Jing Yuan had agreed and the system did not pop up, Bo Chang went with the flow. It just so happened that he also wanted to see Kafka. Then, I won't bother you, you can do as you please. After Jing Yuan finished speaking, he turned and left. After finishing his own business, this Cloud Rider General has nothing to worry about. Next, Bo Chang stopped developing new abilities, and everyone boarded the star raft without stopping. Heading to Changgelshan. The person in charge of driving the star raft was naturally Ting Yun. As a fox person and a ferryman, her skill in steering the star raft was quite impressive. At first, when March 7 was on the star raft, she complained in a low voice, I was not worried at first, but she looked so confident, so I became worried. Such words. However, after a day of companionship, March 7 is no longer worried at all. Just as Ting Yun said, her star raft steering skills are very good, and she is a trustworthy partner. Under the leadership of Miss Fox Changgelshan, everyone arrived soon. This is a very prosperous area of Luofu. The guide sent by Taibizi, Fu Xian is waiting here. Logically, she should be waiting in the square of Changgelshan, but after Bo Chang and others arrived, it was found that the place was full of injured Cloud Cavalry, people from the Landhong Division, and doctors from the Danding Division. There was no sign of a guide at all. Next to the pioneering team, in addition to Bailu and Ting Yun, there was a little dog from the Gongzhou division that looked like a lion dance, named Diting. This was borrowed by Miss Fox to help capture Kafka. During the capture, Diting played a significant role. It is said that San Yuqi can understand the little dog's words. It's quite interesting. Chapter 144 Cyber Flying Sword. Because the guides from the Taibu division were not seen, Bo Chang and others could only wander around and look for traces. Bailu saw so many injured Cloud Cavalry. There was no thought of being idle, and the dragon girl with medicine in her mouth began to treat and save people. Her behavior won praise from a group of Cloud Cavalry. During this period, Sanyuki suddenly realized something, and she asked, speaking of which, where are Pascal and Sophia? Ba came, where did you take them? Pascal and Sophia, I asked them to get information. Now we know that there is an internal organization called Medicine King Secret on the ferry boat that is causing trouble. Do you remember the strange demon yin body soldiers we met in Liuyandu? They are very likely members of Medicine King Secret. Ba Kane had no intention of hiding information, and it didn't matter to tell everyone about these things. Sanyuki nodded suddenly. So that's it, I know, last time we were in Baloberg, did you use a similar method to know the location of the star core? You can understand it this way. Ba Kane was stunned. I didn't expect the other party to suddenly talk about Baloberg. It seems that Sanyuki is still upset about the fact that he inexplicably knew the location of the star core at that time. During the search in Changgelshan Square, Ba Kane collected a lot of information. For example, The people of the Daiheng division have all come out, not a single one left, trying their best to save the wounded transported from every cave in the ferry boat. However, few doctors from the Danding division came out. It is said that even the caves related to the Danding division have been blocked. There is no communication with the outside world now. It is as if they have lost contact. This also made Bo Chang realize that there is a high probability that something went wrong there. So he asked Sophia to concentrate on investigating the blocked caves of the Danding division. As for the caves, they are man-made space bubbles that can accommodate various places for the residents of the ferry boat. The Luofu ferry boat is full of caves. In order to expand the living space. In addition to the Danding division, which is the most suspected, the Gongzhou division and the Taibu division also had problems, and the Star Corps disaster is getting worse. Just when Bo Chang and Sanyuki and others were strolling nearby. In Changleshan Square, several Yunkai soldiers who were eroded by the Star Corps suddenly wailed in pain, and then their bodies floated strangely, with yellow light flowing around them, and yellow ginkgo leaves spread out of their bodies. The bodies of these cloud cavalrymen began to grow and mutate. Soon they turned into demonic yin-body soldiers. Bai Lu, who was treating patients, was stunned, but she was not afraid. Because the little dragon Loli still had the magic power of the dragon spell in her body. You can transform into a dragon at any time. Now that things have happened, it seems the only option is to transform. Bai Lu's body surface glowed with white light again. Bo Chang and others who noticed the situation gathered over. Bai Lu, don't take action, let us do it. Now when she encounters danger, the little dragon girl will transform, and Bo Chang doesn't want her to cause a commotion in Changleshan. Bai Lu, who was about to transform, stopped her movements after hearing these words and said, "Okay, then I'll leave this place to you. I'll go take care of the other wounded." There were many wounded in Changleshan. And there are very few healers. This also makes it impossible to be busy at all. Even if Bai Lu treats people non-stop, she still can't make up for the vacancy of medical staff. Just a few demonic soldiers. He was not taken seriously by Bo Chang and others at all. 3 times 5 times divided by 2 will knock them all down and they will not be able to get up again. The surrounding citizens were stunned. One by one whispered quietly. Bo Chang looked at Miss Fox in confusion. "Ting Yun, why didn't you take action just now? My benefactor, the little girl is just a civil servant, not skilled in martial arts. At this time, she can't help at all. She can only tremble on the side and cheer for others." Ting Yun stared at Bo Chang with a pair of emerald green eyes. She had a sincere look on her face, and her fox ears and tail were trembling slightly. The black-haired boy's face was filled with questions. Not good at martial arts? How did the nuclear explosion stop clouding come about? Hide your clumsiness. Or, are you hiding something else? Bo Chang looked at Miss Fox up and down and felt that she was slightly different from the Ting Yun in his impression. It seemed that he was aware of the other party's doubts. Ting Yun continued to explain. This matter, several other benefactors know about it. Well, indeed, we have already agreed before that if there is a battle, Ting Yun does not need to take action. Walter Young interjected. Bo saw the situation and did not continue to investigate further. Okay, let's go somewhere else. At this moment, a deacon from the Daiheng department hurried over and said, "Everyone, please stay." Bo Chang and others, who were about to go elsewhere to find someone to pick up, stopped. A ferry boatman with black hair and black eyes appeared behind everyone. "Excuse me, I am the deacon of the Daiheng division, De Hao. Fortunately, you took action before and saved the people of Changleshan and the Lady Dragon." The Lady Dragon in De Hao's mouth is naturally Bai Lu. Regarding the noble status of the other party, Bo Chang had known this for a long time. The next Dragon Lord of the Luofu Immortal Boat Clan. When I learned the news at that time, Bo Chang was slightly surprised. Although he knew that the other party had an extraordinary identity before, he never expected that he would be Dragon Lord. It doesn't matter, it's just a trivial matter, not to mention, Bai Lu is our friend, and we should help her. Bo Chang replied casually. De Hao continued, I heard from my friends in Tianbo division that the general has invited a few guests. They seem to be here specifically to solve the trouble on Luofu. It seems that they are you. What? Bo Chang looked at the other party, is something wrong? If you don't mind, I hope you can take the time to come and talk about the company. I want to talk to you about the troubles Changelshan is facing now. I have the option of love in the starry sky. Author, Lao Cha Shugu. Chapter 114. The romance option is turned on. Option 1, agree generously, yes, our members of the Star Dome train just like to help others. Completion reward, obtain random skills. Option 2, refuse to work overtime, sorry, we are going to Dandingsi next, and we don't have time to deal with Chang Leshan's affairs at the moment. Let's talk about it later when we have time. Completion reward, get random props, as small as a match, as large as a star destroyer. Note, such props will. Option 1 vs Option 2. Choose between skills and props. Bo Chang thought for a moment and felt that it would be better not to cause trouble for himself now. It is more important to go to Tapuz early. Option 2. Facing De Hao's request, Bo Chang refused without hesitation, I'm sorry, we are going to Dandingsi next, and we don't have time to deal with Chang Leshan's affairs at the moment. Let's talk about it later when we have time. Rewards are being distributed, congratulations on getting the equipment, Cyber Flying Sword. This equipment can be automatically repaired and has manned flight capabilities. Note, this prop has been stored in the system space and requires fingerprint and iris double binding authentication before it can be used. Chapter 145 Kinke, more updates. Equipment, Cyber Flying Sword. Special Effect 1, this equipment can be automatically repaired. Note, Nanotech, Kid. Special Effect 2, has the capability of manned flight. Note, need to be in the sun to recharge. Cyber Flying Sword? It looks like a good thing. Bo Chang muttered in his heart. I have smoked props several times. Bo Chang finally got better equipment this time. Ah, well, if you have time, you are all welcome to visit Dai Hengsi. De Hao was a little disappointed after being rejected. The deacon of the Earth Hung's department sighed softly, turned around and left. March 7 said, Bo Chang, wouldn't it be bad to just reject him like this? How can a just train crew sit back and ignore other people's problems? Let's go to Tabizi first. After the matters there are settled, we can then consider whether to go to Dai Hengsi. Bo Chang touched his chin, we have to distinguish priorities. Oh, I see, I thought you didn't want to help. March 7 put one hand on his hip and felt much more relaxed instantly. So the group of people continued to look for Tabizi's guide. Seeing Bai Lu busy working endlessly, Bo Chang felt a little distressed, but had no idea of helping. After all, the most obvious effect of his tongue-splitting lotus is to relieve pain and treat injuries, not to cure diseases. Natasha also uses white lotus as a healing medicine. The most important symptom of these Yunkai troops is contamination from the star core. You may fall into the demonic body at any time. Even if Bo Chang takes action, he can't make the situation of these people who are about to fall into the demonic body any better. Among the doctors from the Alund Cauldron division present, only Bailu can effectively suppress the progress of falling into the demon body. Other healers can only do simple treatments. Bo Chang and others searched around Changelshan Plaza, but did not see the person Fu Xian mentioned at all. How about, ask Fu Xian again if the person she mentioned hasn't arrived yet. Bo Chang finished speaking. Seeing cell phone rang, she turned on the screen and saw a message from a stranger. Hello everyone, I'll be waiting for you. Just by counting, it's time to arrive. I have something important to do right now and I can't get away from it. Picture.jpg. Bo Chang leaned over and took a look, taking in all the news. The timing was just right. Should I say, is he worthy of being a Taepusy person? He was able to pinch and calculate, but he just happened to get stuck when Bo Chang couldn't wait any longer and wanted to find Fu Xian. The pickup person took the initiative to come to the door. What does this mean? Just a picture, do you want us to meet at this place? March 7th came over and looked at her phone on the other side of seeing. Bo Chang said, this man, why is he only speaking half of his words? And, why does this photo look a bit like the poker room over there? There's no point in guessing here. Silva spread out her hands, it's better to go over and take a look first. Walter Yang nodded, agreeing with her view. Bo Chang withdrew his gaze and said, okay, let's set off. Little girl, just stay here and look after Master Bailu. When you finish your work, come back to us. Tingyun pressed one hand on her chest. She didn't intend to follow everyone. Bo Chang and others didn't pay attention. Anyway, the Changloshan Plaza and the suspected poker pavilion are not far apart. So they left Bailu, Tingyun, and Diting here. Bo Chang, Walter Yang, Zilawa, March 7th, and Seeing set out together. Time passed quietly while rushing on the road. It turns out, Bo Chang guessed right. The photo that the receptionist sent was indeed in a poker hall. From a long distance away, Bo Chang heard the sounds in the card hall. Male Fox card player, I heard that Taebusy's cave was also hit by a disaster? Kinke, why do you still have the heart to play cards? Chinke spread her hands, showing an indifferent expression. Oh, Taebu's sky is falling, and Master Taebu is still holding it up. Although she is not tall, her ability is strong. After Kinke finished speaking, her tone began to become more serious. I'm not here just for fun. I'm here to wait for the distinguished guests on her orders. Time is so precious. This is called catching fish and doing work at the same time. After arriving at the destination, March 7th and others stopped. Bo Chang looked at the brown-haired girl with her back turned to him and said, the person who is bringing in Taebo is Chinke, right? For the genius mahjong girl. Bo Chang was still a little impressed. After all, he had swallowed 5 combat skill points many times. It is impossible not to have an impression. Plus hearing someone call her name made her identity even more certain. In retrospect, when playing games, Kinke was also often used by Bo Chang. Either a super god or a super ghost. Its role positioning jumps repeatedly between 3 stars and 6 stars. Yo, when his name was suddenly called, Kinke turned around with a smile on his face and said, hello, 5 of you. I can tell by the noble look on your faces that you must be the honored guests of Taebo Si. Zingdao, do you know how long we have been looking for you? Oh, I'm sorry, I wanted to wait for you too. Hearing the sound of the cards behind him, Kinke immediately turned around and saw the cards clearly. She took action when it was time to take action. Hey, that, touch. It's just that the people nearby have been occupied by people from the Daiheng division. It's really noisy, Eve. Kinke was talking and playing cards. I was stunned when I saw March 7th. I thought to myself, if I meet you all in such a noisy place, wouldn't it be that it's my turn? Bang. The view before my eyes. Let March Chi's expression change several times, and finally he and Seeing and Bo Chang looked at each other helplessly. Judging from Kinke's performance alone. On March 7th, I felt that the other party was quite unreliable. Wouldn't it be a disgrace to the scenery? Why don't we take you on a tour in Changleshan during your free time, and experience the folk culture of Xianzhou and the Qianjiao tiles of Emperor Yuan? Kinke looked at his tiles. Wait for me, this one. The romance option is turned on. Option 1, smile crookedly and say, Kinke, you don't want Master Table to know that you are playing cards. Completion reward, obtain props, a Minotaur statue, smash the statue to summon the powerful Tauran warriors assist in the battle, which lasts for 1 hour. Note, such props will. Option 2, take out your phone and take a photo, and say, you're done, I'll send the photo of you fishing and playing cards to Master Table now. Completion reward, obtain random skills. Option 3, act as if nothing happened, completion reward, get random props, ranging from matches to Star Destroyers. Note, such props will. There is no big dick in the options this time, it feels like I haven't seen the options a few times. Bo Chang fell into deep thought, which one should I choose this time? It feels like the 3 rewards are all about the same. Chapter 146 Old Driver. Not necessarily. After all, the Minotaur statue in option 1, I don't know how powerful it is yet. Maybe it's very powerful. Well, it might be weaker. So I'd better choose between option 2 and option 3. Option 1 is too uncertain. Bo Chang didn't want to gamble this time. Anyway, I have received the reward of the Minotaur statue once before. It's better to draw random props or skills. Then, the decision is yours, option 2. Bo Chang made a quick decision. He took out his mobile phone and took a photo of Ching Ke playing mahjong, and said, you're done. I'll send the photo of you fishing and playing cards to Master Table right now. Who, what? King K turned his head in horror. The flash of Bo Chang's cell phone happened to light up, illuminating her whole body instantly. All the flashy mahjong girls have this expression. Oops. King K wanted to hide, but failed, and was caught in the act. Bo Chang showed the screen of his mobile phone and waved it in front of the mahjong girl so that she could see the photo on it, and said, it's useless if you cover your face, I've already taken the photo, you see. The pixels of my mobile phone are very good. Don't send it to Master Table. I'm begging you. Please, just do it. Ching Ke clasped his hands together and begged in front of Bo Chang, making him look like a bad guy. Rewards are being distributed, congratulations on acquiring skills, veteran driver, you will not die in a car accident. What the hell kind of skill is this? With Bo Chang's current strength, there are very few cars that can kill him. I have the option of love in the starry sky. Author, Lao Cha Shugu. Chapter 115. Maybe the starry sky train can do it. But the starry sky train probably won't hurt him. I can only say, it's better than nothing. Bo Chang was thinking wildly, well, maybe it can really save my life in the future. King K, this is a very lively girl, and her voice is also very crisp when she speaks. She chirps like a little sparrow. This mahjong girl combed her long brown hair into 2 low ponytails behind her head. When she made a begging gesture, the ponytails also swayed, and King K's deep green eyes showed sincerity. She was wearing the blue uniform of Tabizi, and she also had a sense of youth. If it was a boy with a soft heart, he might have agreed directly. But Bo Chang didn't buy it. He grinned and said, it depends on your performance. Performance? What do you mean? King K's petite body took a step back, and she crossed her arms while speaking. It seems that she is worried that Bo Chang is up to no good. Before, the mahjong girl said that Fu Xian was not tall enough, but in fact, this guy is the same height as Tabu. I don't know how old he is. But, King K is only about the same height as Clara. Bo Chang looked at the other person's small purse-level chest speechlessly, and couldn't help but silently complain. King K, what are you hiding? My pectoralis major is bigger than your chest. Bo Chang. Sanyuki stared at him immediately. Seeing and Zillowa also looked over, with a questioning look in their eyes. Bo Chang, who noticed the strange sight, coughed lightly, and explained, I mean, let's see how you perform in your future work, don't look at me with that weird look, I'm not a weirdo. Bo-chang's eyes swept across the faces of Seeing, Sanyuki, and Zillawa. Finally, they stopped at Kinkei's face. The mahjong girl with delicate features patted her small and exquisite chest. Is that so? I thought it was something else. Don't worry, isn't it just taking you to Taibisi? This simple task, I can easily complete it. Kinkei said, turned around and looked at his poker friends. I have won this round, but as you can see. Hearing that the other party had won. The three poker friends were all shocked and put on an expression of disbelief. Now I have to start working, let's play together again when we have time in the future. Two of Kinkei's three poker friends are from the Fox tribe, and the other is from the Chiming tribe. Wu, to be honest. Now Changelshan has begun to blockade, and there are signs of chaos. These people are still in the mood to play Daiyuan Qianjiao cards. Bo-chang is also very impressed. Dear guests, let's go. Kinkei said with a smile. I don't know if it's an illusion, Bo-chang feels that the other party doesn't seem to be very worried that he will send the photos of her playing cards to Fuxian. Maybe she has been slacking off too much. So she is starting to be afraid of boiling water? Anyway, the Taibisi is a stable job, so there is no need to worry about being fired. Thinking about it this way, I can almost understand Kinkei's heart. Before leaving Changelshan, Bakane and others went to the square to take Bailu, Tingyun and Diding away. Then they went to take the Xingcha. On the way, they passed a place that was very suitable for viewing the ancient Jianmu tree. Because when they were in Shensi Mansion, Bakane took Sanyuki and others to stroll around and introduce them to Jianmu. So no one at the scene raised any doubts. Immortal boat people like Kinkei can see such scenery every day. They are tired of it. Kinkei, who was slacking off, had no intention of introducing it. The group got on the Xingcha and rushed all the way to the Taibisi. They were not interested in Jianmu. Kinkei was quite interested in Bailu. From the conversation between the two, Bakame learned that they were in a doctor-patient relationship. Kinkei once had a cramp in his hand because of playing cards, so he asked a friend to introduce Bailu to see a doctor. The two of them also met and made friends because of this. From their conversation, Bo-chang noticed one thing, Kinkei is quite powerful. You know, as a dragon girl holding medicine, Bailu has many people who want to see her for medical treatment. Ordinary people want to get a consultation from the little dragon loli. 9 out of 10 times, they have to wait for decades. Kinkei wanted to see a doctor, and she succeeded after asking a friend to introduce her. It can be seen that her friend. The status itself is not ordinary. Speaking of which, who is the friend that Kinkei mentioned? Could it be Fuxian? Bo-chang guessed randomly in his heart. Bailu, who has a slightly round face and a little baby fat, sat next to the black-haired boy. She looked up at Bo-chang and said, you may not know, in fact, Kinkei is the inventor of the Daiyuan Qianjiao card. Ah! Bo-chang's eyes widened at once. He was completely unaware of this matter, and thought that Kinkei just liked to play the Daiyuan Qianjiao card. Unexpectedly, this was actually invented by her. No, I'm not the inventor. Imperial Wall Qianjiao already existed during the ancient empire. I just sorted out the rules and made it reappear in today's ferry boats. Kinkei waved his hand and refused the credit, then looked at Bailu dissatisfied. Didn't we agree at the time not to tell anyone about this matter? Bailu rubbed her head sheepishly. Well, I just wanted to introduce it to Bo-chang, I accidentally forgot it, I'm sorry. Chapter 147 Tabo Si. The relationship between Kinkei and Bailu seems to be good. Regarding the mistakes made by the little Lolita of the dragon tribe, Kinkei didn't pursue it, just smiled, and let the matter pass. On the way to Xingcha, Bo-chang sat by the window, listening to the chatter in his ears. He quietly looked out the window at the night without saying a word. The Luofu immortal boat is a giant ship similar to a planet. Big is really big. Bokai is always on the move. Pascal and Sophia also moved along, and lost contact many times during the period. Especially when they were in the Shen's mansion, communication between the two parties was very difficult. After all, the two of them can only move in the center of Xingsha. Being able to investigate information about other caves depends on flying animal friends. Once Bo Chang is too far away from them, communication will become very unstable. Xing sat opposite Bo Chang. She saw him staring out the window, so she followed him for a while. It was already dark. The visibility outside is not high, and everything you can see is pitch black. After watching for a while, Xing felt a little bored and said, "How about, let's play cards?" "Playing cards? What card is it? Is it the Emperor Yuan Qianjiao card? Do you know how to do this?" As soon as she heard the word playing cards, King K suddenly became energetic and her addiction to playing cards came back. After hearing the conversation between the two, Bo Chang came back to his senses. No. What Xing said about playing cards should be referring to playing cards. We don't know the Emperor Yuan Qianjiao card, but we do know another kind that is similar to the Emperor Yuan Qianjiao card. Games, Mahjong. Mahjong? It's interesting. Tell me about it. The enthusiastic green bird had sparkling eyes. Bo Chang explained it well. Mahjong, the rules you mentioned seem to have a lot in common with the Imperial Palace Qianjiao Pai. After listening to the explanation, King K nodded thoughtfully. Bump, eat, gong. King K is very familiar with words like wait a minute. Although we don't carry Mahjong with us, there is corresponding software on our mobile phones, you can take a look. Bo Chang handed over his mobile phone. The universe is so big, card games are like a crucian carp crossing a river. Countless. Although Daiyuan Qianjiao tiles also have words such as touch and eat, its tiles and rules are quite different from Mahjong. Bo Chang lets King K try out a game of Mahjong software on his mobile phone. Then he took back his mobile phone. Bo Chang, let's add a beacon. Send me the software. King K said, taking out his mobile phone. Mahjong girl's phone case is cyan. There is also a picture of a white chicken holding a salted fish printed on the back. It seems to have implemented its spirit of fishing. Bo Chang added friends and sent the software. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. I have the option of Love in the Starry Sky. Author, Lao Cha Shugu. Chapter 116. At this time, March 7th had already taken out the cards he carried with him and said, Bo Chang, are you done talking? Let's play cards when you're done. A deck of cards. When playing Landlords, it can only be played by 4 people at most. On March 7th, Walter Young, Xing and Bo Chang had just enough people. Zilawa, Bailu, and King K could only watch. After all, they haven't played it yet. Don't know the rules. Silva has only been exposed to Mahjong. After letting the other 3 people watch a few games of Landlords, Bo Chang and others began to take turns entering and leaving the field so that everyone could participate. Bailu and Zilawa were both killed for the first time, and King K was not much better, but she quickly figured out how to play the card game Landlord. It started to be a back and forth fight with everyone. Among the stars, the sound of playing cards continued. After getting familiar with the rules, in order to add a little more fun, King K also offered to use credits as bets. In the Luofu Immortal Boat. The name of the coin is Sundi, and it is already digitized. Pity. As outsiders, March 7th and others. I definitely only have credit points on me. Bo Chang spread his hands and said helplessly, sorry, I don't have any credit points. Seeing also nodded. As two people who have just joined the Stardome train. It is perfectly normal to have no credit points on you. March 7th smiled slightly. I have a lot of credit points, can I lend you some? Bai Lu, who was sitting next to Bo Chang, patted her chest and said, Bo Chang, you don't need to ask others for help. I am rich. Okay, then it's up to you. Bo Chang nodded. After finishing speaking, he felt as if he was being taken care of. King K looked at him with strange eyes. Bo Chang explained. It was General Jing Yuan who asked Bai to reveal the money. The Shen's mansion will reimburse him when the time comes. I am not defrauding children of their money. The words came out. Bai Lu puffed up her cheeks and said, Bo Chang, I'm not young anymore. If you don't believe it, I can make it bigger to show you. No, no, no. I already know you are big, don't change. Bo Chang stopped the little Lolita from the dragon tribe. King K was a little curious about the topic of getting bigger and asked, but unfortunately the secret was not answered. The little interlude ends. The card game, Landlords continues. King K kills everyone at the card table. Earned a lot of credits. Bailu and Zillowa suffered huge losses, and they had no choice but to stop their losses in time. March 7th, Bo Chang, Sing, Walter Yang and King K were left to fight. Time passes quickly like this. When they were about to arrive at Tabasi, everyone stopped playing the game. March 7th put the cards away again. King K, who had earned a lot of credit points, was in a good mood, so he reminded everyone, let me say hello to everyone first. Don't run around when you enter later, although you are Tabu's guests. I hate people who don't follow the rules and ask questions, don't let her get into trouble. We are just observing an interrogation and leaving when it's over. Walter Young replied. Bo Chang asked doubtfully, can't you ask when you see something you're curious about? I think it's troublesome because I'm asking all kinds of questions. Answered on March 7th. During the conversation, Xing Cha had arrived at Tabasi's cave. Xingyun's voice sounded. Dear benefactors, Xing Cha has docked at Tabasi and can be opened for landing. So, under the leadership of King K, the group of people then came to the gate of Tabasi. With red walls and a green door, Tabasi's door is entirely made of metal, and the door lock in the center is a round, wonderful mechanism. King K stood in front of the closed door and felt worried. Doors that had never been locked before. It was suddenly locked today, and no one reminded King K to bring the key. Bo Chang and others were stopped outside the gate of Teifu. The scene became somewhat silent for a while. The romance option is turned on. Option 1, go forward alone, it's just a door, let me open it. Completion reward, obtain equipment, a master key, and can open any lock. Note, such props will. Option 2, since you can't open the door, why not turn over, please suggest, here, I will take you over. Completion reward, get random props, ranging from matches to star destroyers. Note, such props will. Option 3, stay silent and let King K think of a solution. Completion reward, obtain random skills. Chapter 148 Open the door. Look at the options that pop up. Bo Chang fell into deep thought. The rewards for options 2 and 3 are actually similar. The only difference is option 1. The master key is quite interesting. It says it can open any lock. Can it open a combination lock? Bo Chang didn't know. He thought he could try it, option 1. Bo Chang moved forward alone, past everyone, came to King K, and said, it's just a door, let me open it. Then, a very embarrassing thing happened. The system's beep did not sound, and the rewards were not distributed. Ah, Bo Chang's heart made a rhythmic sound, and he had a vague answer in his mind, this time, the option will not require me to open the door before it will give out rewards. Obviously. That's the fact. Bo Chang has been standing in front of the blue door for a full 3 seconds. Love option didn't react at all. Bo Chang, aren't you going to open the door? Sanyuki pressed her chin, her eyes narrowed slightly, and made a scrutinizing expression. What are you standing there for? I'm just thinking, is there a possibility that we can directly blow up this door? Bo Chang is thinking about countermeasures. Kinkei sighed and shook his head, saying, it's impossible. The gate of Tabizi is extremely solid. Once it is closed, if you want to force it open from the outside, I'm afraid it will take the general to do it. But, now that Tabizi is in trouble, the defense mechanism is estimated to be greatly weakened. Forcing the door open is feasible, as long as you are willing to pay for the repair of Tabizi's gate. Kinkei turned around and looked at Bakane, who was frowning and staring at the blue gate next to him. He asked again, what about climbing over the wall? There is a defense mechanism, it is impossible to climb over it. Kinkei continued to shake his head and rejected it. At this time, the Mahjong girl didn't want to stand like this anymore. Don't bother you to find a way. Tabizi has more than one door. I know there is another place for emergency entry and exit. No. Can't let Kinkei lead everyone to other doors. Bakane quickly turned his brain. Is there any way to, wait, this door should be able to be opened from the inside. Just when Kinkei was about to take a few people to another door, Bo Chang spoke again, saying, Kinkei, if you go inside, can you open the door? Yes, but you can't get in. Kinkei put on a helpless expression. Tabizi is an important place for immortal boats. It is very difficult to invade, and the high wall looks easy to climb over. In fact, the technology of space barrier is used. If you want to climb over, you will be stopped unless you break the space here. And even the space transmission technology will be restricted and become unusable. In Kinkei's view, the other party is just wasting his time, which is meaningless. Can't get in? How do you know if you don't try? Bo Chang said nothing. He grabbed Kinkei's shoulder and activated the function of the transmission ring. Come with me. The Mahjong girl was stunned and said, huh. Then, a burst of white light appeared on their bodies. Bo Chang and Kinkei disappeared in front of everyone in an instant, leaving only the Mahjong girl's voice of doubt still echoing in the air. Sanyuki, Sing, and Zillawa realized something. Then they looked down at the same time, looking at the teleportation rings on their hands. Their rings had been activated by dripping blood, and they were also bound to Bo Chang's. It was very simple to teleport over. So Sanyuki asked, should we teleport directly? Just wait for them to open the door. Sing was not in a hurry. Zillawa agreed, yes, the opportunity to use the teleportation ring is very precious, so it is better not to use it indiscriminately. Maybe it can save your life someday, me. Thinking of the encounter with the Star Core Hunter today, Zillawa was a little scared. If Bailu was not around, Zillawa really didn't know how she and Bo Chang could fight against the blade. Walter Yang and Tingyun had no expression. I have the option of love in the starry sky. Author, Lao Cha Shugu. Chapter 117. Bailu looked at the teleportation rings on the three people's right hands with envy, wondering when she could have one too. At the same time, opening and closing her eyes, Bo Chang and Kinkei came to the gate of Tapuzi. She looked at the familiar scenery in front of her and said in surprise, no. How did you get in? Space teleportation? No. Isn't the space confined in Tapuzi? Space teleportation should be a forbidden matter, why can you? Kinkei was instantly confused, and felt that her three views were impacted. Bo Chang glanced inside the door, laughing to death. As soon as she entered Tapuzi, she saw several demonic yin body monsters sitting inside, as well as Sunfan creation and Minglei creation. It seems that this place has been attacked by monsters. A secret inner alchemist of the King of Medicine saw the two and immediately shouted, "Who are you?" This voice brought Qingke back to his senses. The demonic in-body monster in front of him that could speak was really eye-opening. Bo Chang had no desire to answer. Knowing that something had happened inside the Tapuzi, he brought the Spear of Oath when using the teleportation ring. Bo Chang took the lead in attacking. The encounter unfolded as expected. "You go open the door, leave the enemies to me." Bo Chang only left the sentence. The various abilities in his body were activated one by one, and the invisible hand quickly grabbed the enemy with himself as the center. The inner elixir of the secret teachings of the King of Medicine was just an ordinary monster. Compared with the demon yin body soldiers, they only had different appearances, intelligence, and long-range attack methods. Nothing special. Qingke looked at the other party fighting the enemy alone, and she wanted to help. But after finding that Bo Chang's whole body was burning with flames, he instantly stabbed out hundreds of spears and killed several sunfen creatures that rushed over in seconds. Qingke extinguished her thoughts of helping and turned to open the door of the Tapuzi. There was no key. It was not so easy to open the door from the inside, and you had to play a puzzle game. After solving it, the door would open. Who made this rule? Of course, it was Master Tabe of Fuxian. It is said that this is to activate everyone's brain. The encounter came quickly and ended quickly. It took Qingke nearly a minute to open the door of Tabizi. All the enemies were wiped out by Ba Kang alone. The monsters stationed here are not strong. They use the weirdness of the invisible hand and the ability of the 100 birds and phoenix spear. Killing the enemy is a very simple thing for Ba Kang. As the door swayed open, when Sanyuki and others appeared inside again, the voice of the system also sounded. "Rewards are being distributed. Congratulations on getting the equipment, the master key, which can open any lock node. This item has been stored in the system space and can be taken out and used at any time." Chapter 149 The Escaped Star Core Hunter. Accompanied by a creaking sound, the blue door of Tabizi slowly opened. As soon as they met, Sanyuki asked, "Why did it take you so long to open the door?" "I couldn't help it and teleported in directly." "Because the door of Tabizi is not that easy to open, I'm sorry to have kept you waiting." Qingke stretched out his hand and explained. Sanyuki stared at Ba Kang, and the flames on his body were slowly extinguishing. It was obvious. The other party had just fought. "What's wrong? Are there still enemies in Tabizi?" "Yes." Ba Kang finished speaking. The spider sense began to alarm, and he noticed a golden lightning flying next to him, and his body moved slightly. Ba Kang easily avoided the attack. The lightning then fell on the wall, leaving a charred mark. This was a member of the Medicine King's secret teaching who heard the sound and rushed over to support from the side. He was also an ordinary inner alchemist. For the disturbance of outsiders, Sanyuki was very annoyed, and she took out her bow and arrow to attack the enemy. After the sneak attack of the inner alchemist found that his attack did not work, he prepared to escape. Unfortunately, everyone would not let him escape. "Look, smell, ask, kick." Bai Lu jumped up and swung her tail like a dragon. A purple lightning flew towards the inner alchemist. This member of the secret teachings of the King of Medicine, possessing the ability to fly. Unfortunately, the inner alchemist's flying ability is not very good, and it is impossible to avoid the attack. Sanyuki shot his knee with an arrow. Bai Lu shot another lightning. Zzz. The two attacks knocked the inner alchemist down to the mortal world, and he sat on the ground in embarrassment, unable to get up for a long time. Compared with ordinary demon yin body soldiers, Bo Chang felt that the inner alchemist was easier to deal with. After all, although this guy has retained his sanity, he has lost the ability to revive. Or rather, the strange regeneration ability of the body has been greatly weakened. This guy should be a member of the secret teachings of the King of Medicine. Bo Chang looked at the inner alchemist lying on the ground. I guess they invaded the Table division, so this scene is caused now. Bo Chang made his own guess. Walter Yang touched his chin and said, members of the Medicine King's secret section, then can we torture them? Hearing the word torture, the inner alchemist was excited, and he launched another attack with a desperate resistance. Unfortunately, it didn't work. Walter Yang directly swallowed all the attacks with a pseudo-black hole. This scene made the inner alchemist desperate. It seemed that he realized that he couldn't escape, so he committed suicide directly. The body exploded in a yellow light, and a pile of yellow ginkgo leaves flew out. Bo Chang just watched coldly. Just now, he also wanted to catch a living inner alchemist. Unfortunately, that guy also committed suicide directly. Even Bo Chang felt that the other party was not committing suicide, but was being committed suicide. Just when the inner alchemist died, a thunder tribulation fell from the sky. It fell straight towards Bo Chang, and he didn't think about it and directly threw the spear of oath. Instantly broke the thunder and lightning that fell from the sky. Sanyuki said, he's dead. Keep going, and we'll have to ask Miss Kincaid to lead the way. Walter Yang didn't care about what happened just now. After all, this kind of suicide method is not the first time that everyone has encountered it. Kincaid nodded. Okay, let's go. The Mahjong girl didn't care much about the abnormality of Tabu Si. Just like she said before. Even if the sky falls, there is Tabu Lord to support it. What does it have to do with Kincaid, a little fortune teller? If you can be idle, you will never worry about it. This is Kincaid's usual style of slacking off. Go forward all the way. After solving a few monsters at the door, everyone didn't encounter any more enemies on the way. Safely arrived at a platform. Further ahead is the large Jade Omen calculation, and that Tabu Si is proud of Kyrgyz array. Yujeo. This is the work of the craftsmen of Xianzhou Gongzhou Si, who carved the trillion-dollar talismans that are hard to see with the naked eye into the jade crystal lattice, and then embedded them into various mechanisms as needed, allowing them to operate according to the designed intentions. Some jade talismans are small enough to be put into bracelets and jewelry. The large ones are put into the formation to deduce the evolution. To put it bluntly, it is the CPU. When you walk to this platform, I have the option of love in the starry sky. Author, Lao Cha Shugu. Chapter 118. You can meet the people from Tabizi. When they saw Kincaid coming, they all said hello in a friendly way. Mahjong girl is somewhat famous here. Maybe it's because he's good looking, maybe it's because he's so good at catching fish. Or maybe both. Below, Master Tabu, Fuxian, was frowning. Her long pink hair hangs down to her waist and is tied with hairpins to give her a nice look. Wearing a strapless pink dress, a small pink round mirror with countless stars printed on it hangs on her chest. The most eye-catching thing about Fuxian is the eye on his forehead. A third eye similar to the presence of a keyhole, with a blue style inside. Kincaid said, Master Tabu, although I haven't received your order yet, I still brought the guests. The Mahjong girl also has a deep meaning in doing this. After all, Tabu Si is in trouble now. Fuxian might not have time to give the order. So, Kincaid took matters into his own hands and took the people to Tabizi, thinking that these people should also be able to help. It is against the regulations to enter the Kongwan formation without my permission. If you say so, it seems that I am unkind, and you came just in time. Fuxian put his hands on his hips. Now, I have bad news to tell you. Just 10 minutes ago, the Star Corps hunter Kafka was rescued by her accomplice Blade. What? Rescued? Then wouldn't our previous efforts have been in vain? March 7 showed a shocked expression. Star Corps hunter Kafka was escorted to Tabizi by Fuxian, but she wanted to take the first step. As a result, something went wrong now. Your efforts are not in vain. If you help Xianzhou catch the Star Core hunter Kafka, you will be cleared of suspicion. As for letting the key criminal escape, this is my responsibility and has nothing to do with you. Fu Xian shook his head. I really didn't expect that the Star Core hunters would be so cunning. Walter Yang pushed up his black-rimmed glasses, without any thought of speaking. Sean sighed and said, Kafka, ran away now. Fu Xian nodded, his eyes a little melancholy. Bo Chang originally wanted to meet Kafka. It seems impossible to see it now. Star Core hunter, could he be avoiding me? Bo Chang muttered in his heart. The projection of General Jing Yuan suddenly appeared on the Kongguan formation. Qingfu, I've heard everything. The Star Core hunter is very powerful and can predict the future. It's not a big deal for him to escape. Fu Qing doesn't have to blame himself. Fu Xian looked up at Jing Yuan, who was slowly walking over, and said, What should we do now, General? Now, let's stabilize the situation in Tabo first. General Jing Yuan said in a calm tone, the next thing, we will talk about it later. Chapter 150, The Riot in Tabizi. At this moment, the system showed its presence unwillingly. The romance option is turned on. Option 1, ask, do you need help from our train crew? Completion reward, get random props, ranging from matches to star destroyers. Note, such props will. Option 2, take the initiative to ask for help, let us go and capture Kafka. Completion reward, obtain the skill, Royal Sister Killer. For women older than yourself, damage caused will definitely result in a critical hit. The Royal Sister Killer. When Bo Chang saw this skill, he immediately connected it with the skill of his foster father. Also causes critical damage. The Royal Sister Killer can critically attack any woman who is older than herself. It's a little better than the foster fathers with this skill. At least he doesn't need the other person's consent to be his adoptive father. Talk about the revolutionary father. Bo Chang thought of aha. I don't know where the happy star god is looking for fun at the moment. Just don't come to me. I don't want to play games with him. So, should I draw items or skills now? The skill of Royal Sister Killer seems to be really good. He hesitated for a moment. Bo Chang thought, option 2. Let's go get Kafka back. Bo Chang took a step forward and interrupted the conversation between Jing Yuan and Fu Xian. The system beeps. Rewards are being distributed, congratulations on acquiring the skill, Royal Sister Killer for women older than you, the damage caused will definitely result in a critical hit. Bo Chang's words shocked March 7th. The pink-haired girl said, didn't you try to capture Kafka before? Now you were attacked by a Star Core hunter. You must be angry. March 7th said in a long tone, with a somewhat joking look in his eyes. Bo Chang didn't know how to answer for a while. Sean just stared at the sky in the distance in a daze. Originally, she had many things to say to Kafka. All is lost now. Jing Yuan shook his head and said, I don't need to bother you all to hunt down the Star Core hunters this time, but, since you are all here, help Fu Qing deal with the commotion in Tabo Division. General Yunkai rejected Ba Kang's proposal and turned to another matter. It doesn't matter. Anyway, Bo Chang has already obtained the reward. The options this time are not like last time. There are additional requirements. Does the Tabo Division still need our help? March 7 showed a puzzled expression. Fu Xian was silent for a moment, and said, now the Kyrgyzstan formation has stopped, the talisman is dim, and there is a Star Core evil spirit in the division that has not been eliminated. Yunkai is busy protecting the people. I want to restore the formation, but there are no soldiers to use. This Tabo Lord almost wrote the 3 words help me on his face. This time love option did not pop up. Bo Chang did not speak. March 7 continued, is that so? Okay, if you have something to do, just leave it to us. The righteous train group will never sit idly by, and, you'd better speak more bluntly, otherwise I don't understand. The pink-haired girl scratched her head embarrassedly. Walter Yang just silently pushed his black-framed glasses. Bo Chang couldn't help complaining. Isn't this already very straightforward? What do you care? March 7 put his hands on his waist and said unhappily. Seeing that things had been put on the right track by himself, General Jing Yuan turned and left. The light blue holographic projection disappeared instantly. Well, then I'll just say it straight. Fu Xian looked at everyone. Anyway, the Taiba division is short of manpower now. I need you to restart the Kairguan formation, and then destroy the Star Core evil spirits along the way. After coming here, Zillowa has been quietly observing the mysteries of this place. As a scientific researcher of the Silver Main Iron Guard. After coming here, Zillowa found that she couldn't understand the working principle of the ingenious mechanism here at all. So? Zillowa asked in confusion, but we are not familiar with the things here at all. How can we help you restart the Kairguan formation? It doesn't matter, I'll let Qingke accompany you and be responsible for restarting the formation base. Fu Xian put one hand on her waist. She seemed to have guessed someone's thoughts. Qingke, although this child is just an ordinary fortune teller, she doesn't look reliable at ordinary times, but, at critical moments, she can still come in handy. Hearing the praise from the Taiba Lord, Qingke was not happy at all, but instead had a cat-like face. What about you? Bo Chang was a little curious. Fu Xian's pink eyebrows frowned. I failed to guard well and let Kafka escape under my nose. Now we need to catch her again. Can you do it alone? Walter Yang said without hesitation. Fu Xian faced Kafka and Blade, two Star Core hunters, alone. The chances of winning were indeed not high. Just now when Kafka was tied up, Fu Xian was able to let Blade rescue Kafka. The opponent did not stay here, most likely because he was worried about the arrival of the Star Dome train. In this case, Fu Xian's chances of winning in a 1v2 battle were indeed slim, and it was too easy to lose. At this moment, the snow clothes of the Ten Kings suddenly appeared, and she said calmly, "The Grand Master is not alone. I will help in the process of tracking down the wanted criminal." Walter Yang looked over. The black-haired and red-eyed Yano judge stood quietly, her expression cold, and she did not even look at Bo Chang, as if she did not know him. This is normal. As the judge of the Ten Kings division, Shui does not get involved in external affairs. Seeing them so confident, Walter Yang did not say anything more. Taking advantage of the moment when Qingke and Fu Xian were on the same screen, Bo Chang observed carefully and found that Qingke and Fu Xian were about the same height. However, this Taiba master made his hair higher, so he looked a little taller. Next, it was the familiar part of Chu helping others to work. The group acted according to Fu Xian's request. While complaining, Qingke led everyone to restart the Kairguan formation, eliminate the evil spirits of the Star Core, and restore the normal operation of the Taiba division. Encountered the most powerful monster on the road. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. I have the option of Love in the Starry Sky. Author, Lao Cha Shugu. Chapter 119. It is a golden man out of control. It can also be said to be a robot, and it looks like a gatehouse spirit. Anyway, that's how March 7 described it. That guy looks a little smaller than Pascal. But it has to be said, the strength of the ferry boat Golden Man is much stronger than Pascal. If Qingke hadn't stopped him, Bo Chang would have wanted to dismantle this out-of-control Golden Man for research. With the efforts of the pioneering team, the turmoil of Taibizi is nothing at all. It was soon resolved, and the Kairguan formation was restored to operation, and divination could be performed again. according to the original idea. At this time, Kafka should be interrogated by the opened Kyrgyz formation, to pry out the secret of the star core hunter. But now Kafka has run away, so there is no way to interrogate him, and we can only wait for good news from Fuxian and others. Ignoring Kinke, who was sighing on the side, Bo Chang looked at the sky. It was late at night, and Luofa ferry boat was still in turmoil under the influence of the star core. Bo Chang stretched himself and said, "I've done a lot today. It's really hard, let's take a good rest next." Chapter 151. See you tonight. Luofa ferry boat, Taba Division. After finishing his part, Bo Chang sat alone on a step somewhere, playing with his phone, browsing the local network out of boredom. Now the headline of the ferry boat is the Lavender Dragon. The Chiming tribe has been pushed to the forefront because of this. Most people think that it is someone from the Chiming tribe who turned into a dragon. They all want to know his identity. However, the Chiming tribe kept their mouths shut and did not leak any information. The second hotspot is the evil spirits that have emerged everywhere. The pioneering team is waiting for further instructions. Kinke has already contacted Master Tabu, and Tingyun is also contacting Jingyuan. I don't know if the communication is affected. Fuxian and Jingyuan didn't reply for a long time. Everyone can only wait. Zilawa, Bailu, and others were visiting the Kyrgyz formation. This formation is a major weapon of the Taba division. It is used to predict routes and the future. As long as there is enough information, the Kyrgyz formation can answer any question. It is said that the talisman principle comes from the star god of wisdom, Ba Shizun. The depth of the Kyrgyz formation. It is completely beyond the imagination of ordinary people. Sanyuki, Singh, and Zilawa were all eager to try the Kyrgyz formation. Unfortunately, Kinke refused. Ba Kame was not alone for long. After a while, Singh, who had lost interest in the Kyrgyz formation, came to Ba Kame. A gray-haired girl in a short skirt sat next to him, and she lifted the hair by her ear. "What are you doing?" "Surfing the internet," Ba Kame answered. As he said that, he also raised his mobile phone to show the other party to prove that he was not lying. Singh thought for a moment and said, "Since there's nothing to do now, Bo Chang, how about you come and take some photos with me?" "Take photos?" Bo Chang was slightly stunned. Singh tilted her head and looked at him with a pair of golden pupils, with a hint of doubt in her eyes. "No. The romance option is open. Option 1, how can I refuse such an invitation? Please reply, okay, then let's go to a place where no one will disturb us. Completion reward, the threefold gaze of the Yandere. Note, watch your back. Option 2, rejection is also an option. No, I don't want to take photos now, let's change to something else. Completion reward, get random props, from small matches to large star destroyers. Note, such props will. Option 3, since you want to take photos, why not ask Sanyuki to join? Please reply, take photos, then why not ask Sanyu, she likes taking photos anyway. Completion reward, get random props, from small matches to large star destroyers. Note, such props will. Option 3, since you want to take photos, why not ask Sanyuki to join? Please reply, take photos, then why not ask Sanyu, she likes taking photos anyway. Completion reward, get random props, from small matches to large star destroyers. Note, this type of prop will. The option appeared in front of Bo Chang again. If it was before, the negative reward of option 1 is likely to be related to the Star Core Hunter. But now it is gone. Bo Chang thinks the reason is very simple. After all, no matter what choice Bo Chang makes, the fact that the Star Core Hunter will attack him is a foregone conclusion. The choice is no longer important. Bo Chang muttered in his heart, another sickly gaze, this should be just an exaggerated description, triple, it should correspond to March 7, Zillowa and Bailu. As for Kinkei and Tingyun, that is impossible. The two sides have no intersection. The only relationship between Bochang and Kinkei is probably that there is evidence of her playing mahjong in her mobile phone. As long as it is handed over to Fuxian, the mahjong girl will definitely be punished. Option 1 is ruled out first. Option 2 and 3 have the same reward. It's not a good idea to reject them directly. Why not choose the third one? Bochang made a decision quickly. He said, "Take pictures. Why not ask Sanyu? She likes taking pictures anyway." As soon as he finished speaking, the system sounded. "Rewards are being distributed. Congratulations on getting the equipment. Round sunglasses. Wearing these sunglasses, you can see explicit portraits. Note, this prop has been stored in the system space and can be taken out and used directly." Explicit portrait. What are they? Are they glasses that can see through? Bochang became a little excited for no reason. On the other side, after receiving such an answer, Seeing subconsciously glanced at March Chi, who was still taking pictures. Thinking of the fear that once dominated taking pictures, she shook her head and said, "Then forget it." Taking pictures with March 7th was endless. God knows why she was so energetic. Seeing has been tortured enough. When Seeing heard that he and March 7th were going to take pictures together, Seeing immediately backed down. Bochang was stunned for a moment. Then I realized that the end result of choosing the second and third options is actually the same. Maybe that's why. Why are the rewards the same? Seeing, why do you suddenly want to take pictures? Bochang already had an answer in his mind. Still asked. Seeing pressed his chin and said, "Didn't you and Zillowa both take pictures, so I also want to take 2 pictures and send them to the group." This is similar to what Bochang imagined. The only thing I didn't expect was Seeing also wanted to send the photo to the group. It is conceivable that if the photos were really sent out, jealousy would definitely arouse. When the time comes, Bochang will be asked to clean up the mess. That's the Star Train work group, not the circle of friends. Bochang complained silently in his heart. Seeing continued, "But it doesn't matter. Now that I think about it, I don't want to shoot it anymore." "Is that so?" Bochang searched for a topic in his mind. "Speaking of, Seeing, when you come to Xianzhou, have you sensed the star core here?" "When I was in Belloberg." "The gray-haired girl has a sense of the star core." "I don't feel much yet. I may have to fall asleep before." Seeing shook her head. If possible, she didn't want to have a reaction with the star core. That will lead to poor sleep. Thinking of this, Seeing suddenly realized something. To prevent a bad night's sleep, Seeing looked at Bochang, with ripples in his originally calm golden eyes. "Can we sleep together tonight?" There it is again. Almost every once in a while, Seeing would ask. Bochang is almost used to it. The system sound also came as expected. The romance option is turned on. Option 1, "Okay, let's see you tonight." Completion reward, get random props, ranging from matches to star destroyers. Note, such props will. Option 2, refuse directly, "No, Seeing, I want to sleep alone tonight. I can't sleep well with you." Completion reward, you will be hit by a car when you go out. Option 3, decline politely, "Seeing, if you can't sleep, you can also find March." Completion reward, approval of high morals, the location of the fountain in the central square of Belloberg Administrative District can consume a high moral to salvage a treasure from a fountain. Note, such props will. Star Core Hunter, won't you care now? Bochang's eyes stayed on the first option. Chapter 152 Explicit. Which option should you choose this time? Bochang decided after just one look. Option 1. "Okay, let's see you tonight. I have the option of love in the starry sky." Author, Lao Cha Shugu. Chapter 120. Bo Chang smiled. After receiving such a reply, Seeing also smiled. In general, Star couldn't laugh, and now she suddenly laughed. It's pretty good looking. Bo Chang just admired it quietly. Seeing's smile is clean and pure, unlike Silva, who has a mature and seductive charm, and every move is captivating. The gray-haired girl is very green. Bo Chang felt extremely peaceful inside, as if he had been purified by the holy light. Okay, then I'll come find you at 12 o'clock tonight. Star said so. It's now past 10 o'clock in the evening, more than an hour before 12 o'clock. It was still very early. Don't worry, I will hide it from them in March and won't let them disturb. Star continued to speak. She seemed to have learned to be smart. Bo Chang didn't know whether this was good or bad, but he just waited silently. So, the two of them made a private agreement without anyone else knowing. The gray-haired girl stood up and left with satisfaction. Continue to hang out in Tabizi with March 7th and others. The system's voice then sounded. Rewards are being distributed, congratulations on getting the props, a bottle of flammable oolong tea and a mixed drink with extremely high alcohol content. Please drink with caution. Note, such props will win. Very good. There is another guest in the trash can booth. Bo Chang ignored the flammable oolong tea, the master key and the cyber flying sword. Be the first to take out the round sunglasses. This thing and the round sunglasses on Kafka's head. It's almost the same style. Bo Chang put it on without saying a word. That moment, the whole world looks different. The world, which was already pitch black due to darkness, would have become even darker if the street lights in Tabo's hadn't been bright enough. Bo Chang wears these sunglasses, so he probably has to be careful even when walking. King K came to the door at this time and said, "Huh? Why are you suddenly wearing sunglasses?" Bo Chang glanced at it. Under the power of the round-framed sunglasses, King K's clothes were unable to resist him at all. Bo Chang's gaze penetrated directly through the clothes and reached his internal organs. Before me was a scene in black and white. Although you can directly see the complete and clear body curve. But it can only be said that it is not interesting and cannot arouse any interest. The explicit portrait, it's really too explicit. If Bo Chang were asked to describe how he feels now, that Bo Chang felt like he was watching an MRI film. If a doctor gets these sunglasses, he will definitely be ecstatic. It's a pity that Bo Chang is not a doctor. It's useless for him to get this thing, it's a waste of money. Yes, you can give it to Natasha as a gift. She will probably like this. Bo Chang's thoughts suddenly drifted far away. From Xianzhou we went to Baloberg. But her eyes were still on King K, and she couldn't see clearly through her sunglasses, which made her feel a little embarrassed. What kind of look are you looking at? It makes people feel weird. The mahjong girl couldn't help but cross her arms again. I have something to talk to you about, please be normal. Don't look straight at me. Okay. Bo Chang came back to his senses. What did you say? King K took a deep breath. She subconsciously omitted a few sentences, then added another sentence, and said, I said, why did you suddenly put on sunglasses, and, I want to talk to you about something, so it's okay if I interrupt you a little. Facing the problem of mahjong girls, Bo Chang answered them one by one. I just want to try out the feeling of wearing sunglasses. This shouldn't be illegal. As for chatting with me, it doesn't matter. What do you want to talk about? I can accompany you. It's not illegal, but you make me feel weird, a bit like that. Who? Kafka. Yes, she also wears these round sunglasses. King K spoke confidently. Bo Chang lifted his round sunglasses, placed them on his head, and said, does it feel more like this now? I have to say, after lifting up the round sunglasses, Bo Chang feels much more comfortable. The whole world begins to become more colorful. Kinke also looks much more beautiful than in her naked state. Seeing that the other party was so careless, the mahjong girl stroked her forehead and said, "Forget it, let's change the topic." "Okay, whatever you want." Bo Chang didn't care at all. Sitting on the steps, he subconsciously looked at Kinke. Wearing a green short skirt, she showed off a pair of beautiful and round legs. Not wearing stockings or anything. Just like the star, March 7th. "I'm just a little curious. You just teleported me into Tabizi, what happened?" Kinke had wanted to ask this question a long time ago. But at that time, there was another monster attack, and I had to open the door again, and then I had to rush on again. Next, he was given a task by Master Tabu to restart the Kongwan formation and other troublesome matters. As a result, Kinke didn't have time to ask. Only now that I have some free time. Kinke was in the mood to ask, based on the performance of March 7th and others at that time. Those people also seem to have this weird teleportation ability. How could it not make people curious? "Oh, you mean the teleportation ring? This is a small prop of mine. It has the ability to teleport." Bo Chang showed the silver-white teleportation ring on his hand to Kinke. There is no hidden thought at all. "So it's this thing, March 7th, and the others do have it. I thought it was just a decoration. I didn't expect it to have the ability to teleport, but it's clear that Tabo Division has banned space teleportation. You can actually succeed. This is not scientific at all." Kinke clapped his fingers and kept calculating. Bo Chang shook his head and said, "Well, I don't know. I was just trying it casually." He just gave it a try. The energy of the teleportation ring was consumed by one grid. Fortunately, another grid was added this morning, allowing Bo Chang to always have one grid of energy available for emergency use. After the life-saving equipment Sacred Shield enters the CD state, Bo Chang could only use the teleportation ring as a last resort to save his life. But at that time, one grid of energy was used to get the master key. He was still looking forward to the effectiveness of that piece of equipment. Bo Chang looked at the mahjong girl and said, "Let's not talk about this for now, Kinke. Has Lord Taba replied to your message?" "Huh? I don't know. I was so busy dealing with March 7th and the others that I forgot to check my phone." Kinke scratched his head in embarrassment. Bo Chang. Next. At Bo Chang's reminder, the mahjong girl looked at her phone and found that Fu Xian had given the order not long ago. The summary of the content is, "Let everyone take a good rest today. Tomorrow Kinke will lead the team and let them experience the customs of Xianzhou." Chapter 153 Late Night Visitor. Under the hospitality of Kinke, Bo Chang and others stayed in Tabizi. Although this is a place for work, there are still guest rooms, and there are many, enough for one person. I don't live outside now. The reason is also very simple. After finishing the Tabo's matter, it's very late. Just stay where you are. Including Kinke, they will all be staying in Tabizi tonight. At night, Bo Chang, who stayed in his room, opened the window. He blew in the cool breeze and waited for the stars, while also thinking about the Star Core hunters. I don't know if Fu Xian and Shui Yi can catch the two Star Core hunters. Forget it, this is not something I should worry about. They are quite confident anyway. Let's take a look at my new equipment. With this in mind, Bo Chang took out the cyber flying sword from the system space. This is a two-handed sword. It is 25 centimeters wide, 1.5 meters long with the hilt, and 1.5 fingers thick. It is not clear how much it weighs, but it is quite heavy in the hand. There is also a glass-style ball near the hilt. There was a golden light inside. Kang Ba Kang's intuition told him that this should be the energy device of the cyber flying sword.